Yeah. So yesterday we people have seen a limit state of collapse in shear. These are the third chapter, limit state of collapse in shear, and there we have discussed the shear stress distribution in the homogeneous beam is parabolic from top fiber to the bottom fiber. But if I talk about the RCC, where I have given the steel with the concrete, in that case we have derived one formula for shear stress, and we saw the shear stress distribution above the neutral axis is parabolic. But if I talk about the shear stress distribution below the neutral axis, it will be constant and straight up to the tensile reinforcement. This yesterday we have discussed. Then we have seen what is nominal shear stress. Then we have seen what is shear strength of concrete, tau c, and we also seen tau c max. That is the maximum shear strength of concrete. Tau c max actually depends upon the grade of concrete only, and we have seen it is almost nearly equal to 0.62 under root FCK. Yesterday we have seen the three cases, and yeah, we also seen that tau c means the shear strength of concrete, which depends upon the grade of concrete FCK, grade of concrete FCK, and the percentage of reinforcement AST. This is the AST, the longitudinal reinforcement in the tension zone. So yesterday we have seen what is the tau c. This tau c is actually depends on these two values without providing the shear stirrups. But if I provide the shear stirrups in my beam, in that case I have seen this tau c becomes tau c max, and it depends on the grade of concrete only, and it is nearly equal to 0.62 under root FCK. This yesterday we people have discussed. Then we have discussed the three cases when tau v is less than tau c, when tau v is greater than tau c, when tau v is greater than tau c max. Now we are going to start the same cases again. We are repeating today. Our chapter is limit state of collapse in shear. So limit state of collapse in shear, today we are going to discuss now. So now we have seen, is it audible now, right? Is it audible now? Yes, okay. So today we are going to discuss the limit state of collapse in shear, and let's start with the same cases yesterday we have discussed. Again we are going to discuss one more time. The case number first. The case first, if suppose your tau v, that is the nominal shear stress, means the applied shear stress, if it is less than the tau c, that is your shear strength of concrete, in this case we need to provide the minimum shear reinforcement. Provide minimum shear reinforcement. And I can write the formula for minimum shear reinforcement. Yesterday also we have discussed ASV divided by BSV shall be greater than or equal to 0.4 divided by 0.87 Fy. This is the formula given in the IS code. Now, the case number 2 yesterday we have discussed. The case number 2 is your tau v is suppose greater than tau c. If your applied shear stresses are greater than tau c, then we need to design the shear stirrups. Design shear stirrups, or the shear reinforcement we can call shear stirrups for the shear force of tau v, for shear force of tau v minus tau c into BD. Tau v minus tau c into BD. So here I can write, suppose your VU definitely VU equal to tau v into BD. This is the applied shear forces. And the shear strength of the concrete VC is nothing but equal to tau c into BD. Right? This we can write. Now what I am going to do here, suppose it is coming 100 kilonewton and this is coming suppose 85 kilonewton. That means the applied shear stresses, the applied shear force is 100 kilonewton and the concrete can resist up to the 85 kilonewton. That means I need to provide the shear stirrups to take 15 kilonewton force. Right? So here I can do, what I can do here, I can design the shear stirrups. I can design the shear stirrups to take the shear force of tau v minus tau c BD. So here I am going to write VU is the formula given in the IS code. VU is nothing. It is actually equal to tau v minus tau C into BD. Means the shear force, the design shear force for which the shear stirrups are going to be designed now. So what is how to design? The formula for shear force VUS is actually equal to 0.87 F by SV into D divided by SV. So we will be calculating VUS value from here and we'll be putting the value of VUS here. I know 0.87 F, I know the grade of steel also, and I'm not going to provide the grade of steel more than 415 Newton per mm square. ASV I know, yesterday we have seen it is the area of a shear stirrups. If suppose we are going to provide 2 lathe stirrups, it will be your 2 into pi by 4, 5 square, where 5 is your diameter of bar. D is the effective depth, and SV is the spacing of the shear stirrups along the length of the beam. So this is suppose I know, so spacing I can calculate easily, right? Now, spacing suppose you have designed, this is your case number 2. We can design the shear stirrups, we can assume the diameter of the bar here, and we can calculate what is the area of reinforcement that we can calculate depending upon the number of lathe, and we can calculate here SV, that is the spacing of the reinforcement. Right? Now what we are going to do here, this was your case number 2. Now let's talk about the case number 3. What is actually the case number 3? As per the case number 3, suppose your tau V is greater than tau C max. We people have seen the tau C max is the maximum shear strength of concrete after providing the shear stirrups. So what is the meaning actually here? If the applied shear stresses exceed the tau C max, that is the maximum shear strength of concrete, that means whatever the shear stirrups you have provided is not sufficient to take the shear stresses. Right? Because suppose the tau C max value is 2.8 Newton per mm square, and the tau V is coming, suppose 3 Newton per mm square. Tau C max I know, after providing the shear stirrups, it is the shear strength of concrete. The tau V is coming due to the shear force, right? So after providing the stirrups also, if your applied shear stresses are not less than the shear strength of concrete, that means whatever the shear stress you have provided, or whatever the cross section of your beam you have provided is not sufficient. I need to redesign my section. So if suppose I am facing this type of the case, what I need to do, I need to redesign my section. Either I can increase the grade of steel, grade of concrete I can increase, either I can increase the percentage of reinforcement, right? Or I can increase the dimension of the beam. So here I should write redesign the section. So this is your case number 3. Using this formula, suppose we have calculated the spacing, or from the first case when tau V is less than tau C, from there also suppose we have calculated the spacing SV. That SV shall not be more than the maximum spacing. Means now we can write maximum spacing of stirrups. Maximum spacing of stirrups is equal to 0.75 D or may be equal to 300 mm. Whichever is less. So suppose from D is the effective depth of the beam, 0.75 D I can calculate, 300 mm is given. Suppose this formula is giving me, suppose here I am getting the value 450 mm and this is actually given is 300 mm. So in any case, in my beam, I am not going to provide the spacing of the reinforcement more than 300 mm. I will not see whether it is from the case number 1 or from the case number 2. Irrespective of the cases, I am going to provide the maximum spacing is 300 mm. My spacing shall not exceed this 300 mm because whichever is less out of these two, whatever is the least value, for that it will be my maximum spacing for the stirrups, right? So in this way I design the beam for shear, means I am going to provide the shear stirrups to take the shear stresses. And yesterday we have seen the shear stress distribution is first parabolic from top fiber of the beam to the neutral axis, then it is constant up to the tensile reinforcement. In the case of RCC beam, if I am taking the homogeneous beam, then it will be parabolic from top fiber to the bottom fiber. So this we have studied today. Let's solve few problems. Please see your PPT. Get 2014 for 2 marks. Please see your PPT. So see the question number, the question asked in the GATE 2014 for 2 marks. Please read the question carefully. What they have given? Let's write a rectangular beam they have given. A rectangular beam of width B equal to 230 mm. Suppose the data they have given me, B equal to 230 mm. The effective depth D equal to 450 mm. Is reinforced with 4 bars of 12 mm diameter. So the total AST they have given me 4 bars of 12 mm diameter. I know the diameter of the 12 mm bar is 113. How I calculated 113? It is nothing but is a very simple pi by 4, 12 square. It will give you 113. So this is the area of reinforcement they have provided. The grade of the concrete is M20. FCK is your 20 Newton per mm square. Fy they have given 500 Newton per mm square. As per the IS code, we should not provide the stirrups of grade more than 415. Given that M20 grade concrete, the ultimate shear strength is tau C is 0.36 Newton per mm square for steel percentage. See, they have given me 0.25. If I write here percentage AST and the tau C values they have given me for 0.25. Yes. So the grade, percentage AST they have given 0.25, and for this the value of tau C is 0.36. For 0.48, the value of tau C they have given 0.50 and 0.48. So for percentage AST 0.50, they have given the value of tau C is 0.48. So this table they have provided me. Now they have given the factored shear force of 45 kilonewton. The factored shear force is 45 kilonewton. Since we are working in the limit state method, so I need to take the factored values. Suppose they have given the working values or the service values, we need to multiply by 1.5 because we know in the limit state method we always factor the loads. And the spacing they have given 375. Spacing they have given 375 mm of 2 laced stirrups. 2 laced stirrups they have used. 2 laced stirrups they have used, and they have given the spacing is 375 mm. So what I need to do here, they are asking diameter of the bar. What should be the diameter of the bar? So let's first of all, what's our duty here? First of all, we should find whether it is from the case number 1 or from the case number 2 or from the case number 3. If suppose it is from the case number 3, so our suggestion is redesign the section. But if suppose it is from the case number 1, so we will provide the minimum reinforcement, or suppose it is from the case number 2, means tau V is greater than tau C, so we will design the reinforcement. So let's check. So first of all, I need to calculate here the value of tau V. So tau V I know, tau V formula I know, tau V is equal to VU divided by BD. The value of tau V, and tau V is actually equal to VU equal to 45 kilonewton. So 45 into 10 to the power 5. I'm converting this VU into the Newton, and the B they have given 230. And effective depth is given 450 mm. So the value of tau V I can calculate, and it is coming equal to, the value of tau V is 0.435 Newton per mm square. Right? This is the value of tau V, 0.435 Newton per mm square. Let's calculate the value of tau C. They have given, I told you the tau c depends on the grade of the concrete as well as the percentage of reinforcement we have provided in the tension zone. So the grade of the concrete they have given, and for this particular grade of concrete, if we provide this percentage, so this will be the shear strength of the concrete. Now let's calculate what amount of reinforcement we have already provided here. So AST is 4 bars of 12 mm diameter we have provided. So the percentage AST we can calculate. Percentage AST is equal to AST 4 into 113. This is the AST divided by BD. B is here 230 into 450 into 100. The percentage AST equal to whatever the AST you provided divided by BD into 100. This is the percentage AST. So we saw the total percentage AST we have provided is equal to 0.437%. So they have given me the range of percentage AST from 0.25 to 0.50. So the value, this value 0.437 is lying between these two values. So easily I can calculate the shear strength of concrete for this particular percentage of AST by interpolation method. So let me calculate the value of tau c here. By interpolation method I can calculate. Here I can write 0.5 minus 0.25 divided by 0.48 minus 0.36 equal to 0.5 minus 0.437 divided by 0.48 minus x. Suppose x is the value of tau c corresponding to the value of 0.437. So this is the interpolation method. If we solve, everything is known, only the x is not known. So if we solve this equation, we will get the value of x, and the value of x I am getting here 0.45. It is nearly equal to the value of x is nearly equal to 0.45 Newton per mm square. This x is nothing but your tau c value corresponding to the 0.437% of steel. The value of x means it is the shear strength of the concrete corresponding to the value of percentage AST which we have provided in the beam, and the percentage AST is provided here is 0.437%. So for this 0.437%, I use the interpolation method and I have calculated from here, and it is coming nearly equal to 0.45 Newton per mm square. It is nearly equal to 0.45 Newton per mm square. So now I am having two values, the tau v value which is your applied shear stress, and the second is your strength tau c value, the shear strength of concrete without providing the shear stirrups. So here we can see your tau v is less than tau c. Here you can see your tau v is less than tau c. That means it is your case number 1. So let's solve the case number 1. So it is your tau v is less than tau c. That means it is the case number 1. And let's solve the case number 1. As per the case number 1, if suppose tau v is less than, if tau v is less than tau c, that means we need to provide minimum shear reinforcement. We need to provide minimum shear reinforcement, and it is equal to, I can write the formula, SV divided by BSV shall be greater than or equal to 0.4 divided by 0.87 Fy. This is the formula for minimum reinforcement. Then this SV is your minimum area of reinforcement. Everything is they have given me. So let's calculate SV minimum divided by B. They have given me 230 mm. SV is the spacing they have given me 375 mm. It should be greater than or equal to 0.4 divided by 0.87. The grade of steel they have used for stirrups is Fe 500. That means here I am going to write the 500. As per the IS code, it is they have not recommended this grade, which is the greater than 415. And the spacing also they have in this question is for this particular question they have provided the spacing is 375 mm. But as per the IS code, the maximum value of spacing is 300 mm, and as per the IS code, the maximum grade of the steel is 415. Right? But this is a special case they have given in the question, so we need to follow and we need to solve this question. If we solve this problem, so I'll be getting ASV minimum value is greater than or equal to 79.310 mm square. I know ASV minimum is nothing. This is actually your area of stirrups, depending upon the number of latched. Suppose they have given me, they are going to provide 2 latched stirrups. So definitely I am going to write here 2 into pi by 4 into phi square is equal to 79.310 mm square. Right? So from here I can calculate the diameter of bar should be greater than or equal to the value I can calculate 79.31 divided by 2 into pi by 4. So value I am getting here is nearly equal to 8 mm. 7 point something you will get. That means nearly equal to 8 mm. It should be actually the exact value is the diameter of the bar, the exact value I'm getting here 7.10 means I should provide the diameter of the bar greater than 7.10 mm. So what I have seen, diameter of bar should be greater than or equal to 7.10, and the available grade of the for this particular grade Fe500, the available diameter of the bar is 8 mm, 6 mm, 8 mm, 12 mm, 10 mm, 16 mm. So I cannot provide 7.10, so my answer is 8 mm. So here you see there are 4 options they have given. See your PPT, 4 options they have given: 8 mm, 10 mm, 12 mm, and 16 mm. So my answer is 8 mm. My answer is 8 mm. Yeah, one question is there. Somebody is asking, they have given the ultimate shear strength of the concrete. That is ultimate, don't compare with the maximum shear strength of the concrete. This ultimate depends upon your percentage ST only. Don't compare with the maximum, tau C max. Right? So here I am getting the case number first, tau is less than tau C. Right? And tau is less than tau C. That means it is the case number 1, and I need to provide the minimum shear reinforcement. I applied the formula and I have calculated the diameter of bar, and I am getting the diameter of bar is 7.10. The answer is 8 mm. Minimum 8 mm should be provided. Is the diameter of the stirrups. So in this way we solve the problem. It is a very important question asked in GATE 2014 for 2 marks. Let's solve one more problem. Please see your PPT, GATE 2016 for 1 mark. Can you give me answer for this question, GATE 2016 for 1 mark? Yes, answer is B. Somebody has given the answer. Answer is B, correct. That means the maximum allowable shear strength or shear stresses I should see here. Shear stress as tau C max depends upon the grade of concrete only. Yesterday we have written the formula also 0.62 under root FCK. So in the IS code, after the table number 19, they have given the maximum value of shear strength after providing the shear stirrups. It depends upon the grade of concrete, and we can get the values from the IS code for different grade of concrete. Let's solve one more problem. GATE 2006 for 2 marks. Yesterday also we have seen this problem. This case actually we have studied yesterday. The theory behind it yesterday we have discussed. Let's solve the problem. GATE 2006 for 2 marks. Read the question carefully and give me answer. Right? Oh, 2 options they are given. 2 more options are there. So they are asking the shear stress distribution in the RCC beam. So I know the shear stress distribution in the RCC beam is first parabolic from top fiber. The fiber means from the top of the beam to the neutral axis. It is a parabolic, and then it is constant up to the tensile reinforcement. Yesterday we have derived the formula based on this, and your answer is D. Your answer is, for this particular question, GATE 2016, your answer is D. Right? Answer is D. Increase parabolically up to the neutral axis and then remains constant up to the tensile steel. Answer is D. Are you getting? Answer is D. Right? So in this way we solve the problems. One more problem we are going to discuss. Before that, we will see. Yeah, somebody is asking the question. They have written the concrete below the neutral axis is to be cracked. It is the crack section theory. Sir, in the assumptions already we have discussed, when we have discussed the limit state of collapse in flexure, we have written in our assumption, I think assumption number 4, all the tensile stresses will be taken by steel. Means the tensile strength of the concrete below the neutral axis is ignored. What I mean to say here, if I am not considering the area of concrete below the neutral axis, that means I am considering the concrete below the neutral axis to be cracked as per the cracked section theory. This already we have discussed in the limit state of collapse in flexure, in the assumptions. So if I consider all the tensile stresses are taken by steel only, that's why yesterday we have seen in the reinforcement, suppose T is acting here, so the remaining, due to the unbalanced bending moment, T plus dt will act here. Why I am taking all the tensile reinforcement for steel only? Because I am considering my concrete is to be cracked. All the tensile stresses will be taken by only steel. The concrete below the neutral axis will not take any tensile stress. Right? That's why they have written here, the people have written here, the neutral axis, the concrete below the neutral axis is considered to be cracked. Right? Now, so the answer is D here. for this particular case, for this question, the answer is D. Now we will see, we know how to calculate nominal shear stress for a rectangular beam. It is a prismatic beam, means the depth throughout the length of the beam is suppose constant. So I know how to calculate. Suppose this is the beam. This is the beam. The cross section is rectangular. So for this rectangular cross section remains constant throughout the depth, throughout the length of the span of the beam. So I know that tau V is actually equal to VU divided by BD. VU is the applied shear force and BD is the cross sectional dimensions. B is the width and D is the effective depth. Suppose the reinforcement somewhere I have provided, right? Now suppose in any case your depth is varying along the length of the beam. So what will happen? This tau V, the formula of tau V will get changed. What should be the formula I should use here? If suppose, in the case of cantilever beams, generally in the case of cantilever beams, I provide more thickness near to the support and the least thickness at the free end. Generally, in the case of cantilever beam, I provide this type of the sections. The depth available near the support is provided more and near the free end is provided least. At the free end, the depth is least. The reason is, here there is a maximum bending moment and here the bending moment is 0. Right? At the free end, the bending moment is 0 and at the support, there is a maximum bending moment. So what I need to do here, in this particular case, the value of tau V cannot be calculated by this simple formula, VU divided by BD, because at each and every section, here, at each and every section, suppose the B is same, but the D, let's say your defective depth will not be same. The value of effective depth is changing. Everywhere across the, along the length of the beam, your effective depth is changing. So the formula to calculate effective depth here, or to your nominal shear stress is tau V is equal to, we can calculate by VU plus minus mu divided by D tan beta divided by BD. So in this way, using this formula, I calculate the nominal shear stress in the Hansch type of beams. This is called Hansch type of the beam, where your depth is varying along the span of the beam. So here I calculate using this formula. Here I calculate your nominal shear stress using this formula. When I should use the plus sign and when should I use the negative sign? See, suppose in any case, here I am going to write, suppose mu is increasing and in the same direction D is also increasing. Let's try to understand the concept. If the mu is increasing in one direction and in the same direction, suppose the D is also increasing, then I'll be using the negative sign. Consider this case. I know the maximum bending moment is near to support. Here I am getting the maximum bending moment and here I am getting the zero bending moment. Means bending moment direction is increasing in this direction. The bending moment is increasing in this direction towards support. And depth, this is mu is increasing in this direction and the depth is also increasing in the same direction. Depth is also increasing in the same direction. So if I am facing this type of the condition, I am going to use negative sign. Negative sign should be used here. But if both of these two, mu and D, are increasing or decreasing into opposite directions, then I will be using positive sign. So here I am going to write, if formula it is there, we will write if mu and D increase or decrease in the same direction, then negative sign shall be used. In this formula, at that time, I will be using the negative sign. And vice versa means if mu and D increases or decreases in the opposite direction, then positive sign shall be used. Please note down. We'll solve a problem based on it. Very important problem. It is asked the GATE 2016. We will see. Please note down this. Formula already we have discussed. And the formula is tau v equal to Vu plus minus mu by d into 10 beta divided by Bd. What is beta? Beta is the angle. Suppose this is the depth. This is one member where the depth is varying. So beta is this angle. So beta is the angle where the depth is varying. Angle of varying depth. Right? This is the beta angle. So easily we can calculate 10 beta, no problem. Perpendicular divided by base. Right? So this is the formula, in which is very important formula. Yeah, somebody is asking what is the value. Suppose the depth is varying. This is the beam. Everywhere the depth is varying. So what value of D I should take? Somebody asking a very good question. It depends upon the section, sir. I want to design the shear stirrups and I know the maximum shear force will act near the support. Suppose I am interested in this location, near the support. I am interested near the support. So of course D will be near the support. Here, while design purpose, I will be taking this D because here the maximum shear force will act. If the maximum shear force will act here, that means the maximum shear stresses will act here. So what I need to do here, I will take this D. If I am calculating for this particular section, suppose it is a section XX, so at this section, whatever the D is available, I will be taking that value. And whatever the VU available, I will be taking that value. So it depends upon the section where you are want to interested in taking the shear stresses. Generally in design, I will be considering near the support because I know near the support the shear force is more, it's maximum. So we are interested near the support only while designing. So let's solve one problem. GATE 2016 for 2 marks. Please see your PPT. GATE 2016 for 2 marks. He wants to know the design shear force at the section XX, which is 5 meter away from the support. So let's first of all we should draw the beam. So this is the beam they have given, varying depth, and it is a simply supported beam. The load they have given, suppose the load is 10 kilonewton meter they have given. The load given is 10 kilonewton per meter. And the depth available near the support is 600 mm. This depth is 600 mm. And the depth at the mid span is 400 mm. At the support it is 600 mm, at the mid span it is 400 mm. I know my formula for the varying depth and it is equal to, let me write the formula here. In the formula I know tau v equal to Vu plus minus mu divided by d into 10 beta divided by p into d. This is my formula. Right? If this is my formula, he is asking for shear force. He is asking the terms of shear force, the design shear force. If I multiply it here, I will be getting tau v into Bd is equal to Vu plus minus mu divided by d into 10 beta. Right? I know. So let's find first of all should I use the positive sign or should I use the negative sign? The question is, should I use the negative sign or should I use the positive sign? If your MU and D both are increasing or decreasing in the same direction, then I should use positive sign. But if they are increasing or decreasing into opposite directions, that means I should use the negative sign. So let's see here what we are observing actually. It is a simply supported beam, and I know near the support, if you see, the bending moment is decreasing. Your bending moment is decreasing towards the support, and the value of bending moment at the support is 0 because it's a simple support. And I know for the simple supported beam, the bending moment is 0 at the support. But if I see in the same direction, your D is increasing. And here I am getting the depth, maximum depth is 600 mm. Maximum effective depth available at the support is 600 mm. Means both are increasing or decreasing in two opposite directions. So I should use here positive sign. Right? So here I am going to use the positive sign. So my formula for design shear force will be your VU equal to, VU design I can write VUD equal to VU plus MU divided by D into 10 beta. So you can see here, one is increasing in this direction and one is decreasing in this direction. So definitely I will be using a positive sign. In the statements also we have written, if both are increasing in the same direction, we should use the negative sign. If both are increasing in the opposite direction, I should use the positive sign. So here I am going to use the positive sign. Okay, so this is my formula. VUD will give me the answer. Let's calculate the value of VU. Can I calculate the value of VU? Yes, we can calculate the value of VU. And I know it's a simple formula. Yeah, the span is given 20 meter. The span is, this is the effective span they have given, is 20 meter. So my VU is equal to WU into L into divided by 2. So here 10 into 20 divided by 2. So 200 divided by 2 means 100 kilonewton. This is the value of shear force VU. Let's calculate MU. This is the maximum value of shear force VU actually. See, one thing he has asked me here. He is interested at the section XX. So this time I will not be calculating the value of VU at the support. I should calculate at the section XX. Here. So all this value VU, MU, D will be calculated at the section XX, which is at the distance of 5 meter from the support. Right? So let's calculate your shear force at this location. So my reaction, suppose this is support A and this is support B. So this is nothing but your reaction at the support A, RA. Let's calculate the distance of 5 meter. So I can write the shear force at the distance of 5 meter is equal to RA into 5 minus 5 into 10. Sorry, here it will be RA only. Sorry. So I can calculate the shear force at the distance of 5 meter is your RA minus 5 into 10. This 5 is the distance and the 10 kilonewton meter load is acting. So here RA I have calculated 100 kilonewton minus 5 into 10 is 50. That means the total shear force available at the cross section of X, at the section of XS is 50 kilonewton. This is the total shear force available at the section XX, 50 kilonewton. So this is the value of VU I have calculated. So I can write the value of VU here. VU I have calculated, that is 50 kilonewton. Let's calculate now the value of MU. Now we need to calculate the value of MU. Right? So the value of MU we can calculate. MU is equal to, at the section XX, RA into 5 minus 10 into 5 square by 2. Right? So this will be your 100 into 5 minus 250 divided by 2. So it will be your 375 kilonewton meter. So I have calculated the value of bending moment at the section XX, and it is coming as, here I can write the value is 375 kilonewton meter. Now we have calculated the value of MU also. Let's calculate the value of D. The value of D is D. D is here. Again interpolation we can do, or simple you can say the total span is 20 meter. Here you see the total available depth is 600 mm, and somewhere here it is 400 mm at the 10 meter distance. Means over this 10 meter distance the depth is decreasing from 600 to 400. So definitely at the 5 meter distance the depth available is 500 mm, right? Or we can do by interpolation method. So here the available depth at the section DD, at the section XX is 500 mm. Now we have VU, now we have MU and D also. Let's calculate 10 beta. The value of 10 beta we can calculate. I have already given. I told you that value of tau or 10 beta is, this is the beta. So 10 beta I can write here. 10 beta is equal to, this remaining distance is your 200 mm. So perpendicular divided by base, if 200 mm I am writing here. So this distance is 10 meter, the half distance is 10 meter. So 10 into 10 into 10 to the power 3. So I will be getting the value of 10 beta equal to 0.02. The value of 10 beta equal to 0.02. So now all the values are known to me. The 10 beta value I got 0.02. Put all the values here and calculate the value of design shear force, and it is equal to VU is 50 kilonewton plus MU is 375 divided by D is 500. 10 beta is 0.02. So I will be getting the value 65 kilonewton. This is the answer. Answer is 65 kilonewton. Yeah, somebody gave the answer. Answer is 65. Yes. No, answer is not 50.015. Somebody given the value 50.05 something. The answer is 65 kilonewton. Okay, so in this way I have calculated all the values one by one, and I got the design value, design shear force equal to 65 kilonewton. The shear force already we have considered is the 50 kilonewton, sir. We already considered the value of shear force. This is 50 kilonewton. This 50 we have calculated at this cross section XX. Whatever the actually this is the in mm. D is in mm. We have okay. See, D is a 500 mm. I need to put here in meter because I have taken the bending moment in kilonewton meter. So it should be here 0.5. It should be in meter. 375 divided by 0.5 means meter. Now I will be getting 65 kilonewton. 65 kilonewton. If you are taking the bending moment in Newton mm, then we can put here 500 mm. But I have already taken the value in kilonewton meter. I should put here the D in the meter. So now I will be getting the value 65 kilonewton.